you can see. Today is August 10th, 2019. It is sometime in the afternoon. I am making this video because I had nothing better to do at this particular moment, to be quite honest with you. But also I've noticed that I had hit 100 subscribers today, so I am just here to say thank you. I have never thought that anyone actually wanted to listen to anything I've had to say, and it is completely surprising that at least 100 of you do. So just thank you for subscribing and being here and listening to, everything I talk about. So just to keep up with the theme I've had going lately about conspiracies, being that the FBI has openly labeled anyone who talks about conspiracies as a extremist, I figured I would make yet another video about conspiracies. Now I'm going to add some visual effects to this video, show you some pictures, and go over basically my top 5 conspiracies that, to me, that are my most recognizable or popular, to me, top 5 conspiracies. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right, number 1 I'm going to talk about is, of course, 9/11. September 11th, 2001. A pair of jets holding passengers ran into the Twin Towers, or the World Trade Center towers in New York. Anyone who was alive at that time could probably tell you what they were doing. I could tell you what I was doing. I'm not going to. It wasn't nothing wrong or nasty or anything, but it's just not rather important. I was not working that day, and I was asleep in the middle of the afternoon, so it's really not important. Okay, so the conspiracy is, and this is actually widely accepted even by mainstream people nowadays and scientists, is that the planes did not bring down the buildings, that the buildings were brought down by way of demolition with controlled explosives underneath the building. And this has been an ongoing conspiracy since September 11th, 2001. The reason being is anyone who knows anything about physics, science, metal, or fuel, heat temperatures, what it takes to melt steel, could tell you that there is absolutely no way that the jet fuel could melt the steel to weaken the building enough for it to completely collapse. Now, at the time, they wanted you to believe that the building collapsed because the top floors were so weak that they fell, and then it was like a domino effect, and it made the entire building collapse. This is probably, let's just go ahead and give you my opinion on the conspiracy now. I think they're all, full of it. There is no way that those jets took out those buildings. There's no way. They were obviously demolished. Now, another part of the conspiracy is who did it. Now, the mainstream people now say that, the people following Osama bin Laden, whatever they were calling themselves, I don't remember. But, the terrorists, that they did it. They're the ones who snuck in up under the building, put the explosives in there, and then ran a plane into it for visual effects. I mean, why? What would be the point in the planes if you've already had explosives planted under there? So the conspiracy is that the government, the United States government under President George Bush at the time, George W. Bush, it was George Bush Jr., I guess you want to call him, whatever. It was the second Bush. Anyway, he was the one that orchestrated this. This was also said to be a plan laid out by the United States government during the Kennedy administration, and Kennedy denied it and called them all criminals, and etc. So I believe, it's probably, it's a good chance that the United States government did it as a false flag to form homeland security and agencies like that. So that is conspiracy number 1. Just keeping right on with the trend of John F. Kennedy, let's go with conspiracy number 2, and that would be the Kennedy assassinations. So, November 22nd, 1963, Dallas, Texas. John F. Kennedy was in a parade. He was riding in the back of I believe it was a Cadillac. It was a convertible. There was no protection around him whatsoever. He was smiling, he was waving, and then a shot was heard. Probably not. Then his head exploded, and then the shot was heard. Sorry for the graphicness of that, but that's what happened. Conspiracy says that Lee Harvey Oswald, that was the man who was accused of shooting Kennedy, could not possibly have done it. That he was not in the right place, he was not in the right spot at the right time, and more conspiracies say that multiple shots were fired from multiple angles, making sure they didn't miss. Apparently, someone else was winged by a bullet coming from a different direction. And if you look into this, it's a lot of back and forth. So it's really hard to determine what is what in this situation. For one, cameras were very low tech then. They didn't have a lot of, I mean, they were still using black and white. Pictures weren't that good, and there's just no real way to prove it either way, in my opinion. I can't, 100% say that Oswald did it, and I can't say that he didn't. So that's where I stand on that. But 35th President of the United States was assassinated. Before he was assassinated, I cannot tell you if this quote is true or not, but he claimed he was going to expose the corruption in our government. So the conspiracy says that after he said that, the CIA had him killed. Is it true? It's plausible and possible, in my opinion. So that's conspiracy number 2. Let's go with number 3. This one's kind of a 2-part conspiracy, I guess you could say. This would be Roswell, New Mexico, the alien crash site in just outside of Roswell, New Mexico, on somebody's ranch in 1947. Something crashed. That is not disputed. Something crashed on this guy's ranch. The government actually released a statement. The government released a statement, said it was some kind of saucer that crashed, then later retracted that statement and said it was a weather balloon. Do I believe it was a weather balloon, or do I believe it was aliens? That is questionable. That is questionable in my opinion. It could go either way. Actually, let me just say that I don't believe it was a weather balloon. It could have been a government secret airplane test kind of thing, because Area 51, which wasn't all that far away, especially if you count flight time, is where they supposedly took the crash wreckage. And Area 51, it was, at the time even, a secret military installation. A Air Force testing site is what they claim it is. What the conspiracy theorists claim it is a place where they hold alien spaceships and do tests and things like that. Some of the conspiracies will say that they took alien bodies out of there. They took an alien craft out of Roswell and moved them all to Area 51. They say that our technology jump from, I would guess, the 1970s to where we are currently at, it has been a large increase in technology. They say it's reverse engineered from alien technology. Is that possible? Probably. From a biblical point of view, do you believe aliens do exist? Well, the universe is very large, and God is very powerful. I mean, he can do whatever he desires to do, if he even has desires. I don't even think you could look at it in that particular way. But from a biblical point of view, I think I would be an incredibly arrogant person if I thought this entire universe was made just for humans like me. That is where I'm standing on that particular conspiracy. Plausible. Yes, aliens, maybe. Along with that is alien bases on the dark side of the moon kind of thing. But yeah, we'll leave it there. All right. Conspiracy number... What am I at? 3? No, 4. Conspiracy number 4. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm losing track here. All right, conspiracy number 4 is going to be vaccines. The vaccine conspiracies. The government claims that vaccines are good for you. They prevent diseases. The CDC will tell you that vaccines do not cause you any harm. They do not cause autism. Where I stand on that, it will be a whole other story here in just a second. So basically, vaccines are there to protect you. Your flu vaccine, your flu shot you get every year is there to protect you. Last time I read anything about flu vaccines and flu shots is flu shots kill more people than the flu every year. More people contract the flu from the flu vaccine every year. The flu vaccine actually does give you the flu. That is what it is supposed to do. When you get that shot, you are warned that you may be sick for a few days. I have had the flu. I have never had a flu vaccine in my life, and I am still alive. Now, other vaccines, the MMRs and the measles, the mumps, and all those vaccines that they shoot into infants when they're newly born, it is said that it is safe. Conspiracies will tell you that it isn't. That infant immune systems cannot handle the amount of chemicals and vaccinations that they are getting, and it is no reason to give it to them. It says that it can contribute to SIDS, or sudden infant death syndrome, or I guess it's a syndrome, I don't know. SIDS, it's when an infant dies suddenly and nobody can tell you why. A lot of people will tell you that have had that tragic experience that it happened real soon after the shot, because they give newborns a shot and then you have to bring them back. I think it's like 2 weeks later to get even more shots, and after that 2-week mark is when a lot of infants experience the SIDS. So vaccines, my opinion on it. I am very closely acquainted with someone who had a 2-year-old child who was very normal, very healthy, was going on 3, was talking, walking around, had no problems whatsoever, was developing normal in every way, went for a booster shot for vaccines. The next day, the child could not talk anymore, and to this day, 12 years later, the child still does not speak and has severe autism. So my opinion is that the CDC is full of it, the government is hiding it, and vaccines are very harmful to human health. My reasoning for this is the things I have seen with the autistic child and the fact that I know what happened to him. Also, it's what is in it. You can look up ingredients and they will tell you ingredients, but it's a vial of liquid. You don't know what's in it, even if they tell you what's in it, unless you believe this person, trust this person with your life. You do not know what is in that. Would you trust somebody up on the street handing you a needle and saying, hey, it's not heroin, shoot it in your arm, it's a vaccine? Governments are drug dealers, my opinion. All right, so that'll be vaccines. Moving on to the 5th and final conspiracy. This is a top 5 video, so the 5th and final is probably going to be the longest one of them all. We're going to talk about Freemasonry, the Illuminati, and the New World Order. Basically, the conspiracy is that there was a secret organization called the Illuminati. They have been secretly controlling events for at least 1,000 years, is what the conspiracy says. The Illuminati was exposed at some point and they reformed into Freemasons. That is the conspiracy. Freemasons, if you don't know, is a group that has been around for hundreds of years. There are Freemason symbols everywhere you go. You have Freemason lodges in every town in the United States, just about. It is said, and I can attest to this in my local areas, that Freemasons are highly involved with the KKK, or Ku Klux Klan, which is a very white supremacist, racist group in the United States. It is said that the Freemasons and the KKK are one and the same in most areas. I can tell you that this is true in my local area. Whether it is true in every local area is up to you to decide or figure out. But where I live, that is extremely true. Now, were the Freemasons the original Illuminati? And what were the Illuminati's goals and plans? New World Order, one world government, Controlling the population is all of the above for the Illuminati and the Freemasons, if you believe that they are one and the same. A lot of people are Masons. I have toured a Freemasons lodge. I have toured. And my thoughts on it when I seen their main hall and their meeting area is that it looked very much like a church to me. My opinions on it is probably a false religion. A lot of Freemasons are probably going to not like me. I don't care. Anyway, so Freemasons have been around since the 18th century, so Wiki says. And you can find Freemason emblems in the United States dollar bill. The all-seeing eye was an Illuminati emblem, like you see on the dollar bill, like you see in some Freemason symbols. That's supposed to be Illuminati emblem, but who really knows? I mean, there are so many videos, there's so much you can watch and read and learn that it is almost impossible for the Illuminati to have been fake. As if they have become the Freemasons, that's questionable. Freemasons founded our country. George Washington was said to be a Freemason. There are Freemason images all over Washington, D.C. in buildings that are still there from the founding of our country. So Freemasons built our country. Are they the Illuminati? I don't know. Are they the New World Order? I don't know. They could be. I wouldn't put it past them. The Illuminati goes back to the Rothschild family. It links to them in most of these conspiracies. If you've never heard of the Rothschild family, they basically own everything. They literally own all of the news services, the bank services, banks, basically everything. On some level, they own even social media, even YouTube, Google, everything. And you really can link most of the United States major TV networks at some point back to something they own if you do enough digging. This goes also along with the Bilderberg group. If you've ever watched Alex Jones, you probably have heard of this. This is where the New World Order or the elites meet and decide your fate or the fate of the world. There is and I forget what it was called. It was some stones or something or another. It's basically, it says that the population of the planet needs to be less than 1 million people. And this is put out there supposedly by Illuminati, that their intention is to depopulate the planet and control what's left. That would be probably the most well-known conspiracy of the Illuminati, but this is also said to continue with the Bilderberg group, the KKK, the Freemasons, that it's all a part of the New World Order. It is said that they own every government leader on the planet. My opinions, why wouldn't they? I mean, if you look at it from a logical point of view, when you take in the whole picture and you think of human nature and how evil people can be, why would there not be people that want to control everything? You cannot doubt that. You cannot say that that is not a possibility, because there are people always wanting to control everything. Go to work one day, there's always that one guy who knows everything and is always telling you what to do, and he is not the boss, but he wants to be. There's always that guy. So that guy on a bigger level who has endless resources and funds, imagine that guy. And you cannot tell me that somebody who has endless resources and funds has not ever wanted to control everything. You can't tell me that, because it's not even a mathematical possibility for it not to have happened. So who's to say that some family hasn't controlled everything and control everything you see and hear and are watching you on your phones? I mean, yeah, it's just not possible for it not to have happened. From a logical, mathematical point of view, it has to have. And if it's still going on, that's, up for you to decide. My opinion is most definitely. So that's it for my top 5 conspiracies. Again, I would like to thank everybody for subscribing to this channel and for listening to what I have to say. My children, of course, do not ever listen to what I have to say. Well, when I make them. But when it comes to preparing survivability and survival skills. They do hear me and they can quote a lot of the things I say, so I know it's sticking, but it is good to know that at least 100 people on the planet don't think I'm crazy. Well, maybe you do. Maybe that's why you watch. Either way, it works for me. But that is it for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And remember, survival is grim.